That was a brutal compliance meeting. In the first 6 months of our EHR implementation process, we have had, as I counted them, 6 substantial IT operations breakdowns.
If we don't get our act together, Emma will have our heads. We need to come up with a plan to get these situations under control.
We also need to find a way to prevent these problems from coming back over and over again. With the EHR coming online, our IT operations are going to become increasingly complex. It is vital that we succeed in making this transition effectively and maintain buy-in from all our clinicians.
I am especially worried about our information security and IT processes. It seems that a lot of these issues have been brought about by our people not sticking to the best practices that we have tried to establish. Also, if we do not improve our data security, sooner or later one of the potential HIPAA violations is going to turn out to be an actual HIPAA violation.
Yeah, and did you hear what our compliance officer said? Even if we are trying to prevent HIPAA violations, if a claim is brought against us, it could be $1,000 per violation. If somehow it is determined that we really haven't been paying attention to information security, the penalties can skyrocket up to a maximum of $1.5 million.
Another thing I'm a bit worried about after that compliance meeting is our compliance officer's ability to handle IT security issues. He currently serves as the lead on compliance, privacy, and information security. In the past, it seems he has done a fairly good job of ensuring the staff understands what PHI is and how to handle it, but I do not think he has the technical expertise to develop the processes necessary to maintain information security and handle the intricacies of electronic PHI.
Other organizations I have worked in have been larger and have had an individual for each of the compliance officer positions you mentioned. It may be time for you or I to take over the information security officer position. In the end, if one of those systems goes down or PHI accidentally leaks out through our IT systems, it is going to be seen as our error.
Well, let's look through each of those 6 problems and figure out what we are going to do about them. We do not have enough resources to implement the EHR and address all of our security concerns at once.
I agree, but we need to figure out what is most important to address first. Some of these issues are mainly technical fixes like changing permissions in the EHR, while others are affecting our clinical processes. Others may in fact be jeopardizing the whole EHR rollout.
There are commonalities among these problems, and I don't think we have been proactive enough in preventing problems. Instead, we have been reacting to problems as they come up. The only way I envision us succeeding is by creating a culture and system of processes that allow us to avoid the problems altogether. In my mind, there are data security, confidentiality, and privacy issues that we are not effectively addressing. What do you think, Sarah?
I agree to those, but in prioritizing these issues, I would also like to consider how they are affecting patient safety and the acceptance of the EHR by patients and the clinical staff at Moyen Santé. First, let's walk through the patient safety issues. While compliance and data security are important, I believe in this organization patient safety should be our top priority.
I agree with that, but do not have the clinical experience to identify which IT problems affect patient safety the most.
Well, the most pressing safety issue comes from the pharmacy. Inaccurate stop-loss orders and medicine records can create potential fatal outcomes.
It sounds like we should get a team together from pharmacy, the ICU, nursing, and IT to identify the root cause of these inaccuracies.
Next are the issues we have experienced with the clinical information in the EHR not matching the manual information. This has shown up in both the ER and labor and delivery units. If the data is incorrect, it creates a patient safety issue that has physicians acting on poor medical information, and it creates an issue of quality. We need to have a system that physicians can be confident in.
I understand what you are saying. We should create a small working group to perform a root cause analysis to give recommendations on how to fix the issue. I imagine it will be more difficult at this point to create confidence in the system, but we must do everything we can if we want this EHR implementation to be successful.
I agree. Building the confidence of the physicians will be an uphill battle. We could help build confidence by making quick improvements like updating the permission settings in the system to allow efficient access to patient information.
That sounds like a good place to start. We sure have a lot to do to try to improve the EHR.
There's another important problem that we need to address. It seems that we never considered how the EHR will function within the workflow of the various departments. Pediatrics is circumventing the EHR because it causes extra work for them and it prevents them from efficiently delivering patient care.
Understanding how the departments use the EHR is an important step that we didn't pay much attention to. Let's set up a meeting to discuss the needs of the people in the pediatrics department, to start. We could also have an IT representative shadow some of the nurses and physicians in the various departments to get a better idea about how they would use the system.
That sounds like a great idea. I will talk to the nurse manager and arrange for us to get a better idea about how the unit functions. It would help to have MHA there to show that the leaders of Moyant Santé are dedicated to making this work for the clinicians.
I agree. Let's get this scheduled as soon as possible. We should get a meeting on our calendars for 2 weeks from now to make sure that these improvements are well on their way.